You are listening to the Mary Jane Society podcast, where you will meet entrepreneurs, cultivators, scientists, doctors, and inventors in the cannabis industry.
I'm your host, Pam Schmiel, marketer and publicist in the cannabis industry. Today our guest is Christian Chavez. He's the CEO and co-founder of Statis Cannabis Co. It's the first dispensary to open in the Bronx just a few months ago. Christian tells us how he went from running a successful construction company and real estate business to being a dispensary owner with plans to open more around the city. Statis represents urban luxury and plans to elevate the culture in the Bronx. Let's find out how things are going with Christian and his team so far. Fantastic. Jumping in here. Well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. I'm curious to hear about all about Statis and what you're doing there. So, and if you could just give us an overview of your dispensary and how you started it with your wife Emily and your friend Angel. How that came about. Just like a quick summary and maybe like a elevator pitch of what Statis is and how you came up with the name.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Statis Cannabis is the first dispensary in the Bronx. We're very fortunate to get it in and open right before the injunction on July 6th. We are consider ourselves an urban luxury kind of vibe store. From the moment you walk in, we take pride in our logos, our displays, and to our bud tenders' appearance and personalities. So we're very big on big greeters, happy-go-lucky individuals, and just making sure we have the right vibes and the right educational pieces in the store for the consumer. Nicely dressed, white shirts, aprons. They get cleaned multiple times a week. It's a nice image when you walk in. In terms of how we got started, it's been quite a journey. Nice long path. I personally have been involved in commercial real estate with my partners for about 15, 16 years right now. And right after, so we were involved for about 15, 16 years. And want to say about 4 or 5 years ago, we embarked on a journey. My wife one day, and sitting in our living room after our kids, we put them down to sleep, said, "Hey, listen, I see that you're working different ventures. We're still working on our main focus, which is real estate, commercial real estate development. You guys are the team that we have surrounded are pretty good at building businesses, but you have a lot of cannabis in your network. You have a lot of, cannabis connoisseurs. Some of my best friends, or one of my best friends involved, is a cannabis connoisseur." So picked up the phone around midnight and said, "Listen, I think this is a good idea. I think we should jump in." We started on the real estate side. We were involved in different municipal meetings, getting some real estate prepped for other developers or other licensees embarking on the journey in New Jersey. And then one day we decided, you know what, let's go all in. We're going to go on cultivation for a cultivation license in New Jersey. We were one of the first rounds of getting a cultivation license in New Jersey. We had we brought on a family friend that was part of the first medicinal side of thing licensee in New Jersey, which actually sold to Ascend Wellness. He was just an employee, high six-figure employee, very well versed in the space, 20 years experience. So we brought him on. We started working cultivation, raising capital, and during that journey, while we're getting everything prepped, we discovered the New York application. So from there, we went on to apply for New York, thinking, we're not going to get this. It's going to be very competitive. I literally went through every line, an hour a day. We worked really hard on the application, making sure it was perfect. But again, it's not up to us. It could be perfect, but there was 1,000 applicants. So the first 36 licenses came out, I believe, in November 2023, and I almost fell off my chair when I, was sitting in a meeting and found out that we were one of the first 36.
Wow, that's amazing. Honestly, yeah, I wouldn't have thought that I would have been in the running.
Yeah, we didn't think it was coming at all. We were prepared, but we did not think it was coming. So just the thing that they didn't tell us before we applied is that you can't have a cultivation license in any other state. So that was a big challenge. We had to make a decision amongst our partners and amongst our families, and we decided to let go of the cultivation. We can always come back to it when the law allows us to. So we let go of our cultivation, gave it back to New Jersey, withdrew it, and embarked on the journey in New York. Now, the good thing is that we're working diligently on the real estate side of things, looking for the right real estate. And the Bronx, for some reason at that time, and when I say at that time, that's 6 to 10 months ago, there was not a lot of not a lot of cannabis friendly landlords. So it was really, a challenge, especially with our team. We have, or ironically for our team, because we have the real estate background, it was still very challenging. We just couldn't convince landlords to let us in. A lot of this issues with their lenders, of course, as you know, these are, they have mortgages on it. So it's very difficult to kind of get some of these landlords on board. So we're fortunate enough to find a landlord that was cannabis friendly. We did some short-term leases. We worked out the rest of the terms, and here we are. Everybody's been very cooperative and has helped us kind of get open in regards to like DASNY, the OCM. So now we built Statis. We launched delivery about a month ago. We're working different cannabis grower showcases, which are these little pop-up shops that the OCM allow us to do. So we're just planning, 2 in Brooklyn, 1 in Queens, 1 in White Plains that opens up next week. So we have a nice big expansion plan, but nothing but a journey. We're still facing a lot of challenges, as you see the injunction happening. So.
Right. So, I'm sorry, you said that you have delivery in these different areas. Is that what you were just saying? Or you're
Yeah, our delivery is live as about a week ago. I'm sorry, a month ago we launched.
Oh, okay. So you didn't launch delivery first. I know a couple of the other locations, the dispensaries were doing while they were in build out, but you guys were already built out and ready to go. And just to
Yeah,
add,
a lot of the delivery only licensees are kind of still delivery only. A lot of the dispensaries kind of took a similar path that if they can open up their doors, they'll get delivery launch at the same time or a few months after. So we said, let's focus on the brick and mortar. That's where, that's what's lucrative nowadays, because with your marketing restrictions, to connect with the public, for them to know that you are delivering, you need a brick and mortar first, because it's just, our hands are tied behind our back. We can't do much marketing other than social media, creative marketing, events, everything that we're doing right now. But it's like we're limited.
right. Okay. So down the road, they're not just separating delivery as a different license, versus a retail license. Because in some states, like you're required, right, to work with a delivery company.
Correct. Yeah.
So
Like in New Jersey, I believe that's how it is. In New York, no, it's if you have so the way that we were presented the license under the MRTA and under the regulations, we can do delivery and we can actually do consumption. However, they're not allowing us to kind of get the thumbs up yet for it. It's part of our license, so we'll see what the regulations bring in the next few months. But part of our license allows us to do consumption when the time comes.
Okay.
We'll have the ability to do that. So yeah, we are brick and mortar, we're a store and delivery at the moment.
Okay, and so have they put out the guidelines on consumption? Does that mean like you could set up an area, or can you serve food with that? Can you serve non-alcoholic beverages with that? Are there any guidelines?
There's some limited some limited regulations on it, or guidelines, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
But it's not fully out. They're changing every day, because we also have like a Clean Air Act. So there's other challenges with New York itself. So we're still far from seeing a consumption launch. I would say 6 months to maybe years. So you can see anything, overnight. But again, it goes into our expansion plan, because whatever other locations we're part of, we want to make sure that we have, additional area accessible to us for consumption.
Right. I think it's going to be important. So were you born and raised in the Bronx, or did you?
No, I myself, we were, I'm right over the bridge. So I grew up in Hudson County, New Jersey. My wife back and forth from New York and New Jersey. Again, as teenagers and children. So, New York and New Jersey is all I know. I'm literally a 2-minute ride away from the bridge. We grew up in New York. The Bronx and, Upper West Side, all that area, we've always been there.
Yeah, I was just curious why you chose the Bronx, if it's because you grew up there, or why you chose the Bronx as
So the reason we chose the Bronx is that one of our partners, Angel Teresa, which is our social justice partner. We have multiple people on our team that have been kind of victims of the war on drugs, but when we embarked on this journey, first person we thought about was Angel. It's a family friend, and he is from the Bronx. So we said, hey, maybe our chances are higher to stick to there. We know the Bronx really well. We're always there. We've always been there in our childhood. So we have family there. So maybe we'll stick to that. But again, I have a passion for Midtown as well, the Bronx, but this is what we zoned in on.
Yeah. And then, so do you get 3 retail licenses in your license?
Yes. Yes and no, I guess, because
are you that comes with a license, right? You can get up to 3 stores. Is that right?
Yeah, as it was given to us, it is. Now with this injunction, I don't know where it's gonna go. It's very unclear. So if I went to the OCM right now, because we have an expansion plan, we have other locations that we're looking at, but I can't submit for the 2nd and 3rd store yet. They don't allow that. Like they haven't gave us the green light for that. We're definitely ready. We have an incredible management team that we can handle the expansion, but again, our hands are tied behind our back because of the injunction, because we're just a card licensee. So we'll see what the future brings, but we are definitely prepared to kind of run parallel paths with the card and regular licenses to see where it takes us.
Right. So you mean if in fact you have to reapply again to get those other 2 and go in that lane? I see.
Right, which in fact we are running a parallel path regardless, just in case the card program restricts us from doing anything else. We do have an expansion plan because we do have properties in Midtown, in Brooklyn. We do want to bring Statis to the other boroughs. It's not just the Bronx, but that's going to be our stomping grounds.
Who's your demographic then? Who's your core demographic? It's got to be people right in your.
When we were looking for a location, ideally you want to be next to kind of a train station, because that's what connects all of New York. Unfortunately, we could not find the right location next to a train station for our opening at that time. So the next best thing in a community that we already had involvement in, not myself, but other partners, was this Tremont area. So I would say that our demographics is definitely local. So what's cool about this area is that we were connecting with the community every single day. It's not like, just a store in the middle of Manhattan with no ties and, just tours.
Yeah.
And employees for different firms that are just coming into work, we are dealing with a majority of the locals. So it's pretty cool. A lot of them connect with our, with our bud tenders, cannabis consultants. So the vibes are awesome. It's kind of like a mom pop community feel with that kind of urban luxury in an inner city. So there's levels to it. And I would say our demographic in terms of like kind of gender and age, it's all over the place. I've never seen such, a wide range, but it's definitely the majority of locals, if not like 95% locals.
Right. Great. Oh, right. And so all the bud tenders bring in their friends, and it's just like kind of builds on the whole local community.
Yeah, and once some of the locals have visited, the word of mouth has spread rapidly, and then they connect. They find 1 or 2, cannabis consultants that, they just feel connected to. We've seen that certain clients have just waited for certain consultants to become free because that's the person they want to talk to, because they feel that they know what strains they've used and what they've tried, what they like, what they're trying to achieve. So
And how about the elderly in the community? I wonder about that, just in generally speaking, because I feel like it's such a growing community, and I'm always curious how the elderly are kind of flocking to, or how you're reaching out to them, or are you even trying to reach out to them? They're intimidated to come in, and
Ironically, they've welcomed us with open arms. I have seen that the elder population are the ones that want to connect with the consultants as much as possible, because they want to understand more about the product. Some of these consumers are just used to flower for 50 years. Now they're going in there to say, look, I have neck pain, I have arthritis, I take these pills, I take this ointment. Well, what do you suggest? Well, we're not doctors, but listen, we have a great CBD, CBN, THC cream that my mother uses, and they try and they come back for more, and they just want to try different things, where they're used to, like, again, 20, 30, 50 years ago was just strictly flower. Now you have concentrates, you have edibles, you have topicals, so they like to get continuously educated on it.
right. So are you doing in-store? I know you've only been open for a few months now, but are you doing any sort of in-store outreach? I know that I've heard of other stores that will literally reach out to the community centers, the senior community centers, and, try to educate them. Are they receptive to that, or are you even doing that, or just
We haven't had an active one yet. My wife that handles community development or involvement, she's actually working on a few different events, educational events, and some other nonprofit stuff that Statis are going to be part of. But it is in our plans, actually. So we're excited about that. But right now it's literally just they are coming in. They know that we are the legal cannabis in town, and they want more knowledge, and we're there, and we do spend time with each customer. We're doing
how
a
are
little bit
you
of everything that
promoting
we
or
can
using
do.
marketing tactics to
Um,
reach?
Initially we did have different marketing campaigns. Our opening was a great success. We were pretty much on almost every local news channel. We were on 1010 Wins. So we really connected with the community with just the opening. So once we got that traction, we built off of it. Social media, some other marketing campaigns, some collaborations with different, local artists, comedians. We have a huge event happening next week that will be on the radio on. I'll actually be doing a show from our store. So it's just connecting the local, community with Statis, so there can be recognition that this is the legal cannabis store in the Bronx. You don't need to go far. If you don't want to go illicit, here we are. The black market's never going to go anywhere. We hope that New York State continues on this journey and is more successful than they have been. It seems that they do have an aggressive approach brewing. We'll see where it leads to. And so far, we have our clientele. A lot. We have seen a shift in talks with the consumers, but again, black market's not going to go anywhere. But if we can increase our market share from illicit to legal, that's the purpose of, that's the reason that we're doing this, to connect with the community and to also have a profitable business. If not, we cannot connect and give back to the communities that we serve.
Right. Are you doing anything in that respect as far as the community outreach? Are you working with specific organizations or any,
We are, as I commented before, my wife is handling a lot of these campaigns right now. We wanted to make sure that we had some profits coming in first, so we can reinvest into the community. So she has had the green light for about a month, and she is working on different campaigns. So it will be exciting.
It's right. I know. That's the last thing you want to hear with these kind of margins, but
yeah, 280E is nothing to sneeze at. So
I know.
We needed to make sure that we got those taxes in first. We had everything worked out. And now we can go and be part of the community in the magnitude that we wanted to, because we can do little things as we have, but we do have nice big plans, and hopefully it all works out soon.
Okay, as far as brands, how are you choosing How much do you know the brands? Do you know the brands that
We know
are
we
there?
know them really well. I want to say that our procurement team, led by one individual and the rest of the management team. I mean, before we opened, we were visiting every, I mean, I don't want to say every, but we were visiting all of the farms that were recommended to us. So we went down the list. Every week there's multiple farms that we hit, because we don't just meet with the brand reps and the farmers at our location or our offices. We actually try to go and see their operations, because you can really tell by visiting them, how their process is, how passionate they are about it. Hey, what are they doing with the mold? What are they doing with certain, so we take we take our team that has been part of cultivation in the past to understand, is there going to be longevity with this brand, or is it just one good harvest? What are their intentions for the next harvest? So before we opened, we were quite concerned early in the year. I mean, our opening got delayed and delayed and delayed, but early in 2023, we're concerned because it was competitive, but the quality was not so good. There was maybe 4 or 5 companies that we would vouch for. But as as our opening got delayed, and by our opening July 6th, I can tell you that the quality is there, has drastically improved, and it can compete with any market. So we're very satisfied, and so are the consumers. That the bad rep, I mean, you used to see articles daily on how bad the quality of flower was in New York. I mean, I don't know if you ever see them anymore. I mean, you see a couple here and there, but I mean, they're always going to be there, but it's drastically changed. So we have a great procurement team, and we only really carry what we're really passionate about, and know that there's going to be longevity in the brand or the farms. Everything's New York grown, so even if some of these Cali brands are branded or in one of our stores, the manufacturers or the farms behind them are here in New York, so they're the ones really growing the flower. So
Right.
I would say that that's one of our strengths, is the procurement side of things.
So can you name some of the top brands that you really like out there? Which farms do you really like? Well, and extractors and brands as well. Like,
I mean, we do really well with Flower House, with Flores Farms, manufacture, High Falls is really good, Electra Leaf, Heirloom for processing. So just Hudson Hemp. So some of the ones that come up, top of my head, but Rove and Heavy Hitters. So those are all like, some of the flower and some of the manufacturers.
that are
Those
doing
are
well in
our
your.
top sellers, and that we can stand behind and say that they are real good quality.
Okay. How about in the gummy world?
Some of the manufacturers I named, like Heirloom, Flores Farms,
Oh.
HPI, which has Rove and Heavy Hitters. Actually, they're part of another one, but those are some of the brands.
And are your most is your best selling consumables? Is it flour? Is it kind of in the
Flower is like 55 to 65%, depending on the weekend.
Okay, and then our vape second, and then gummies third. It kind of
Pretty much, yeah.
pretty much. Okay, how it usually goes. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And do you think there's, off the top of your head, do you think there's any products in the market that you wish somebody was selling, like that might be coming from the West Coast, or that you I don't know, that you feel like we're missing in our New York market so far? I know a lot of solventless products were very popular in the the West Coast, and I'm kind of happy to see some good solventless products coming out. I'm just curious.
I would say that diamond infused, more diamond infused,
Yeah.
higher THC levels for some consumers. Some consumers are not really just focused on the terpene, and so that's part of the education in our at our store. It's not only about the THC numbers that you see in the pack, it's terpenes and all these other chemistry behind it. So that's the education that we provide.
Yeah.
But a lot of consumers just want that high THC, that this is what they want to achieve. So I think we'll get more of that as the indoor grow world opens up now, November 17th, with new applications that will allow for that to penetrate the market. But again, it'll all be done with New York, farms, hopefully, in the beginning, because they're the ones that, kind of had infrastructures up. but the market will mature fast. I expect that 1 to 2 years we'll have a pretty mature market.
Yeah.
We're standing in a good position in terms of quality. We are in a very nice place. So we're very happy there.
From what you've seen in the farms that you've visited in the extraction. Great. Okay. And then I guess just kind of wrapping it up. So I just wanted to, you were mentioning in your expansion plans, whenever that can happen, you're thinking of Midtown Manhattan. Is that like, what kind, have you kind of, like the Times Square area, or, and then you were talking about Brooklyn. What are you kind of focusing on there?
Yeah, we're in that Midtown region. We're in Brooklyn, Upper West Side, Upper East Side.
Okay.
So we're kind of like, positioning ourselves geographically across all of Manhattan.
Oh,
from the Bronx to Brooklyn. So again, it's not completely up to us. We're going to do everything we can in our power to put our best foot forward and see where our applications land from November to December, I guess.
So are you kind of shooting for the tourist market in the Midtown, I guess, the Times Square? That's what you must be going for, like tourists, I would think, right?
Our intention is not to only reach really the tourists, because they're not the reoccurring customer. I mean, hey, we're happy to, for us to have some flagship stores and for them to know who we are. But at the same time, we do want that reoccurring client. So we do want the locals. We do want the people that work in these areas and live in these areas or commute daily and see our store. And, we just want Statis to be recognized, just not as this one store that opened up in the Bronx, but the store that has a great collection of, ample product, high quality to choose from.
Yeah, I like also your urban luxury, elevated experience kind of.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I think that's great, because I think that's what we need to do, take it into a different, instead of like the smoker,
Of course, yeah. We're trying to get away from, the norm.
Yeah.
Kind of, cannabis is just, it's accepted now.
Elevate the culture.
Exactly. You can any type of individual from any class, just consuming cannabis in so many different ways. So why limit ourselves as a company? We're a very diverse ownership and management team, even our consultants. So hey, so is New York. So
right.
Keep it that way. So we do want to elevate that experience for the consumer.
Yeah, cool. Wow, thank you so much. That was really informative. I'm so glad to hear about Statis, and wonderful. I think that's really great, and I wish you a lot of luck. So
thank you so much. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Have a great day.